Hello, my name is Wilhelm.
Hello, my name is Jonathan.
And together
they are Wilhelm and Jonathan.
Here we go.
We're in Munich.
Yeah, live from Expo Real.
So, first of all, a big shout out to Immo Scout 24, who, believe it or not, have allowed us to use the smart car on their stand so that we can have a quiet place to do the interview. And it's so cool. Such a great business. Really nice people. So thank you to them for letting us populate the little smart car for a few minutes.
If only you could see how it looks outside the car, because people are thinking, what's wrong with these two guys in the car? What's wrong with these two guys talking to each other or talking into a phone? Yeah. Absolutely absurd.
But honestly, I mean, Expo Real's mad anyway.
Oh yeah.
What are you feeling in the room? What are you feeling out there on the halls today? I mean, it's a bit weird, isn't it? What's going on?
Oh, I'm not sure I'm creating only friends when I say this, but in certain parts it feels a bit fake, feels a bit over the top in regards to what's going on and what's whatever. It's super busy. It's so super crowded. Waited an hour yesterday for getting my baggage out of the wardrobe, but I have not yet found, when I dive a bit deeper, how it really is. How good is it really, or is it just the positivism which needs to be sold so that everybody's kind of in a really good mood?
No. Okay. So we're in Munich. We're at the end of Oktoberfest yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think, there is positivity out there. It feels like there is positivity out there. Some of it is misplaced. I'm convinced of that. But there are some really good things going on in the property industry. Okay. And I think, as I always say, probably there are those that get it and those that don't get it. But we're seeing a lot of things happening, a lot of change happening in our world. Food service is still getting a lot of attention, and it's getting a lot more serious attention, which is good to hear. I mean, I think obviously because the retail estate is evolving. I think leisure is also changing as well, and a really interesting emphasis change. And as you know, we've just opened Lane 7 in Berlin. We've just opened the Upside Down there, and they're doing really well. And I think people are now the water's been tested. They're seeing it happen, and they're going, actually, this might work.
But a question for you. This is obviously far more your area than mine. This is an observation. Is when this movement started, right? There was once a movement where it's more restaurants and put more restaurants, whatever. And we talked about this a lot about curating and whatever. Now, at one point, we moved from just talking restaurants. Suddenly, leisure popped up, and everything kind of started to become leisure. Everybody, we speak about leisure, although it's not really leisure, and then market halls and everything. Yeah. But at the same time, I have the feeling in the market that the simple idea to do copy paste, right? Just take something and put it in there because somebody said this is a great idea. Yeah. I think there is now examples out there where we see doesn't work. Yeah. Not every movie center, not cinema centers, cineplexes, bigger other entertainment areas, they seem to struggle because the same similarities we had in discussion with Gastro before is because people kind of think, but I don't know, is this really what I want? So is it just we use a new term and we should throw it out there and build more and more? Or do you have the feeling that there is serious understanding and exchange in regards to what do we really need when we talk leisure?
I think that's a really good, very long, but very good question.
It's me, right? It's part of it's part of the game.
And I think, I guess where I'm coming from on this is that copy paste works. I mean, you build lots of houses, you copy paste. Each one's individual to the person because it's their home. They're all the same. Copy paste works. I think, cinemas have to build cinemas like them to be built. But what we're forgetting in retail, in leisure, and in food is the emotional index. Yep. The extra ingredient that actually raises the hair on the back of your neck, makes you excited to be there. And that emotional point is something which the property industry finds really hard to deliver because the spreadsheet is not an emotional tool. It's not. The appraisal is not an emotional tool. The emotion comes in when the people who are delivering the project aim high, aim better, aim well at delivering something different. and trying to hook into why people will spend their money in an experience economy rather than in a physical brick and mortar economy. And I think, you know, every business, I mean, I'm here working with ECE over Expo, and every business is struggling with that. But actually, where we're seeing our biggest successes is where we've managed to move the emotional index.
In all these developments out there, and in all the things which are now kind of, you know, taking shape, and these massive projects we have in the Middle East and in Asia, in kind of creating more and more of these kind of super sized experiences. From the ones you know, which ones are standing out, and if they stand out, why do they stand out? Why is it? Why
That's
are they
a fabulous question. I mean, you know, one really close to home for me. Somewhere like the Trafford Centre. I mean, that's been around for a long, long time. I mean, I was involved with that with John Whittaker originally, part of the development team. I still got my picture above the mall at the top. But it keeps on doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is give a palace for retail, wrapped around amazing F&B that actually gives people a day out, an afternoon out, a night out, wrapped around great leisure, which they use now and again, and it just keeps on delivering, it keeps punching it. And wherever you put that anywhere else in the world, it works. As a formula, it works. And I think, you know, we've got everything going on in Saudi, as you say, the biggest, the best, the most expensive, all of those other things. Fundamentally, if they don't have emotion in those places, they are not going to work.
I 100% agree.
And so that's why I use Trafford Centre as an example. It's not new, it's none of those things, but it absolutely hits the emotional button for the consumer in that area.
Great. One of the centers I don't know, so next time I be there, then I'll have a look. Hey, here's a thing for you, as a follow-up to what you just said. Do you, from this connection, obviously you have to developers, and I mean my own observations as well, do you have the feeling that developers try to find out how to get that emotional connection to projects? Or is it more, which is an observation, sometimes a kind of a very superficial way to look at things, right? Yeah. Because that's what people say is, do it, right? Put it in a nice brochure, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But do you feel there is a real kind of reconsideration of the position of a developer to say, if I want to have people connect with my center, how you just described it with Trafford, is do you feel they really want to change?
You're putting everybody in one bucket. You're putting everybody into one bucket, and I think that's the difference between successful developers and unsuccessful developers. Ones that make minor returns and ones that make major returns. In my experience, those that are more connected with the emotional side of the activity and can play to the strengths of that are the ones that are more successul.
Okay.
And by that I mean you can build some incredible things that are ultra efficient. I mean, let's be honest, we're in Germany. Okay, so you can build things that are ultra efficient, that are the most amazing buildings, that you know are super cheap to run. You know, they tick all the ESG boxes, but are they nice places to be in? And that's the extra level of design input, the extra level of thinking, the extra level of care, the extra level of attention to details that allow that building to live dynamically as an emotional space for people to be in.
Yeah.
And you know, we've all gone and stayed in hotels and done stuff, or been to a shopping centre where you go, everything is right, but nothing is right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful expression, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely, and it's spot on. That answers my question quite nicely, because it is literally from what you see and what you hear. When you started asking, so I think what I meant with the fake, because I don't want to insult anyone by saying, well, sometimes I do, but nevertheless, so is that the fake part is more this. We learn new language. I take the market hall example. We learn new language, and then we use that language for literally everything, regardless if it's relevant, if it's really nicely done, if it's understood. But I use the language because I think if I use the language, I have somehow adopted the spiritual conviction. But the reality is, and that's what I like so much what you said, is then you go to that place, you try to have that customer experience. And I just been to a couple of places in the Middle East where I was there and because people say, this is fantastic. And you're there and you're thinking, when is the fantastic piece actually starting? There's no connection. Nobody picks me up.
Yes.
There is no emotional connection for me.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it's just another place offering stuff, but it would not trigger my kind of movement to say I'm going to come back again.
Absolutely. Delete the word fantastic and replace with expensive. And that's how a lot of people quite often measure things. It's got to be good because it costs a lot of money. I think, there are so many simple examples of places where you go and you go, this is just gorgeous. And it's not expensive. It's not too clever. It's just very well curated and very well put together. The word that gets used too much, and it actually used to be on my business card at ECE, was placemaking.
Placemaking.
And that was fabulous. Placemaking. But actually everybody talks about placemaking and nobody knows how to do it.
There's no more leasing anymore. There's no more leasing. Everything is placemaking.
Yeah. But when they talk about nobody knows how to do placemaking, it's not true.
Yeah.
But a lot of people talk about it. And by constructing 4 buildings around a square with a fountain in the middle and some benches, suddenly it's placemaking.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And it just isn't. And I think we, as an industry, we strive to find the repeatable success. That's what we do. It's what most of the companies out there have founded their successes on, trying to be repeatable and successful.
So is it fair to say, if you look at this from the kind of a summary from that episode today, is you cannot just plug stuff in. You need to understand the emotional connection to the market, the customer's need state and whatever, as one point. The second point is, when you actually take that in for the actual development to put it in, you also need to make sure that it's executed against it, right? Just putting it there doesn't do the trick. You need to actually put the work in. And if you feel that what you've done is not working, or you're not there, you have to have the strength to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is what we learned. This is what we learned from our customers. We need to adjust to make it relevant for the people coming in.
Yeah. And here's a good test. When you look at a project, you know exactly how much it's going to cost, hopefully. You know exactly what's going to go in it.
That's a separate episode if that's true or not. Yeah.
You know all of those things. Yeah. Then ask yourself, how much of that success is going to be needed to be inputted via emotion rather than by physical things. For this to be a successful project of a cinema and 12 restaurants in a shopping space on the 4th floor of a shopping centre, I don't know, let's pick Frankfurt, Mainz-Style, good example. How much of that is the emotional input? How much of that total experience of 100%, to give somebody 100% experience, is 25%, is 35%, is 50% of it? That's why that escalator rises through all the floors from the ground floor, because you're building a sense of anticipation. You arrive there and you're surrounded by gorgeous architecture, beautiful light, amazing glass. Your body is responding emotionally to what's there.
And I think we can close the episode.
I think we probably can close the episode on that.
That's a very good,
and
kind of leaving people with that thing. I need to see the place.
And don't be too negative about the future, because the future of successful places is understanding why people are going. And one thing that's certain about the human race, it won't go to places it doesn't like. Human beings don't go to places they don't enjoy.
And you're right. The good thing about us is, for the thousands of years we're here, right? We're actually representing an industry which is here for a couple thousand years. You don't look like it.
I know, I'm not 1,000.
But we're representing it. We are representing an industry which is here for 1,000 years. And the main purpose of this industry hasn't changed. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure in a couple thousand years, it will still be here. There might not be cool people like us sitting in a small car, but it will still be there, and it will still fulfill what I think our main mission is. So I think, as a general thought, I think we will prevail in which form ever. I just think for the environment we're in, for the countries we're in, we need to put a little bit more effort, because the simple plug and play does not work the way it worked in the past.
And as we have more fake, more AI, more everything, real is going to have more value.
Absolutely.
There's a parting thought for
Super.
you, ladies and gentlemen. So, just like to say thanks again to ImmoScout24 for letting us
Absolutely.
use the smart car.
Fantastic.
And see you all
So,
soon.
Mr. Jonathan.
Jonathan.
And Jonathan. And Mr. Wilhelm.
Mr.
I'll say
Wilhelm.
goodbye.
Say
Thank you very much.
goodbye.